Thank you, my Lord Bishop. Thank you, everybody. I wouldn't have wished for happier start to my birthday. Thank you very much. I want to thank the Bishop, the Dean, the Bishops, and everybody here, clergy and lay. I want to also particularly recognize my senior brother and the wife, Sir Izu Nwachukwu and Lady Izu Nwachukwu. I'll just say a very little story. You know, it's about kindness and brotherliness. When I first passed JAMB in Nigeria, the exams were right to get into medical school. I actually wanted to study medicine from childhood, but that very time I didn't score enough points to get into medical school. I think it was just 1 point or so, 1 point. So I was offered medical lab science, second choice that I made. And all my classmates were getting into college. And I was one of the brighter ones in my set. So I couldn't think of not being in college, matriculating with my friends. So he told me, no, you've always wanted to be a doctor. I think he was worried that if I got in there, I'll get distracted and never go back to my calling. So I listened to him, and I stayed back. It was the longest, most painful 1 year I could go through, to wait another 1 year, and sure enough, I got into medical school. We come from a very indigent family, so he, through his hustle in Europe, paid my school fees from year 1 to year. So I'm standing here in a large part because of his vision and his love. So I appreciate him, I appreciate his wife. And thank you. So I wanted to pass some paper around. I don't know if everybody has got one. Okay. So we don't have audio visual here, so I thought I'm a very visual person. They say a picture says more than 1,000 words. If we had time, I would have asked us to make it like a workshop. Every table, just look at that picture and tell me what jumps out at you. But we don't have that time, so can we just take 3 people? Any 1, 2, 3 people who want to tell us what jumps out at them? Lord Bishop, you want to try?
Well, what I see is a horse that is tied to a small chair, and I'm surprised that the horse can't move that little chair. I think the horse has been made to believe that he can't move. I mean, he's been brainwashed to think it can't move. So that's what I think.
Thank you, sir. Any 2 more suggestions? Anybody wants to have a go? Sir Redu?
It's a horse that's in a kind of mind prison. You know, you believe you are restricted without actually looking around and find out that you're restricting yourself.
Okay, there's a distinct difference between my Lord Bishop and Sir Redu. My Lord saying the horse has been made to believe. Like the horse is a victim. But Sir Redu is saying the horse thinks, you know, it's internal, right? One more. I'm going to take you and you.
Praise the Lord. I see someone rejected here. Feel alone. Nobody cares.
Okay. So it's external. Nobody cares about him, so he's alone, right? So you're attributing the fate of the horse externally. Okay.
Yeah, the horse perceives the chair as like himself, the same way because it's standing on 4 legs like itself. So that's the thing. This 4-legged thing must be likely as heavy as I am.
Thank you. Great. You see, if we go round, if we make this a workshop, you'll be shocked at what you get. Well,
the problem the horse is having is with the rope. Whatever the rope is tied to, the horse believes that it can't move away from his home.
Okay, so the rope is keeping the horse from moving. My brother,
He's been conditioned.
see, I'm going to speak, so go to another realm, so I'll come to you last.
Yes, I see a horse as an obedient animal, and he is tied on a chair. I know with his power, he can take that chair to any level, but as an obedient animal, he is patient with it.
Okay, so this horse is a virtuous horse, it's very obedient.
I see here the horse is a big horse, but the perception the horse has is, I'm so tiny and being restricted by this small chair. So because of that, but it actually he's big, but he's seeing himself as small and being restricted by something. Chair.
I don't think the horse is actually noticing the chair so much as the halter around his base and the rope attached.
Thank you.
In my own view, the horse is like Nigerian. The chair is like our politicians.
Okay, that's another learned colleague. He says learned helplessness, which is true.
I see a carefully composed picture that does not comport with reality.
Okay, that's a possibility. Okay, I'm going to take this last one.
I think this horse is just following directions. He's been told to not go anywhere. That's why he came.
That's an interesting one, right? Because it doesn't make sense. It's not intuitive, right? It's not intuitive, but it actually happened. It's real. You want to go? Let's. One more. Last one.
I am seeing the chair as the rider. Until the rider moves the horse, and the horse is also seeing the chair as the rider. When it moves.
Okay. This is truly the last one, my sister.
Praise the Lord. You know, one thing with the horse is that the horse is very obedient and stays wherever it is. And so, no matter what is around the horse, the chair there is in his mind, because except you pull the horse, it will never move because it's an obedient servant. So whatever is around the horse is like a restriction to him of his movement. So it's in his mind, and he's very tired. So that's the way I perceive this.
Thank you very much. So you can see a picture tells 1,000 words and even 10,000, because if we keep going around, we keep getting more words. But the truth is, we sometimes, whether we realize it or not, find ourselves in the situation of this house. We all do. So the question is, what is the plastic chair? Even right now, what is the rope that is tying you? And are you willing, you really want to take control? Because this horse weighs 1,100 pounds. This chair is less than 11 pounds. And to this horse, he can't help himself. Somebody said learned helplessness here. You know, so the context of what we want to talk about today is mental stress. Mental stress. I think with COVID, with the economy, the politics we have now, tribal politics, whether it's the US or Canada, I think the whole COVID thing, nationalism and all those right-wing, left-wing, whether in Nigeria or whatever country it is, would have this, it's as if tribalism is at its very worst at this time. So we have stress, anxiety, depression, trauma. Trauma, if you're from Nigeria here, even here in the US, my kids, look at Ukraine war. My kids, they see something and they turn away their eyes. They don't want to see that, right? The Uvalde shooting and all that, you don't want to see that. Why? Because that's what we call direct trauma, that's what we call vicarious trauma. But whether it's direct, what you experience yourself, or vicarious, what you see other people experiencing, they all take their toll on us. So you have loss. We've all seen loss during this time. Loss of employment, loss of dear ones, bereavement, broken marriages, primary losses. And then secondary losses because you lost somebody and you couldn't even travel to go bury the person. So all types of loss. Then grief. It's collective grief. So more than ever before, COVID-19 has made all of us feel, I mean, I've always said there's a thin line separating sanity from insanity, and we all cross that line. All of us, every day, we cross it, we come back. We cross it, we come back. But some people are unlucky, they cross, and they're not able to come back on their own, and it takes a toll on them, and we have to intervene. But by the grace of God, we cross, when you yell at your wife or your child, you do something crazy, you cross that line. But by the grace of God, we're able to bounce back. So, but with COVID-19, we've seen stress. All of us. We've seen anxiety. And we've come at the brink of clinical mental health issues. If we haven't, we know somebody who has, or we've come very close to it. We're talking about stress. And it's a segue time here to say we are really blessed in this diocese. I mean, I've said this several times, with Bishop Oji around or not. Look at this synod now. We've talked about everything spiritual. But we've also talked about our health. And not just health. Yesterday, Dr. Bishop talked about physical health. What is topical? What do we need to know at this time? And today we're talking about mental health, emotional wellness. I don't know any other diocese where you have this full package of holistic care for us. So we're really privileged in this diocese. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm that doctor nobody wants to identify in the shopping mall. In my older years, I used to be in gynecology, and some woman was, hey, no, and tell, oh, that's the doctor that had my little baby, and I had Johnny. They could. People wanted to, but now I see my patients and they, and I learned not to say hello to them because you put them in trouble. You say hello, somebody says, who's that? There, I'm in trouble. So, but in this diocese, I'm given a platform. I'm given a platform because we have a bishop who understands that as we are all humans, they say 1 in 4. They say 1 in 5, say 1 in 4. Say, okay, let's say 1 in 4 has a mental illness. Will either has a mental health challenge now, or has had in the past, or will have in the future. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you know, if 3 people around you are okay, see me after this session. But it just tells you how common. It tells you how common it is. It tells you how common it is. And it pains me when in the United States, with all the gunshots, people always say, oh, it's mental health. Oh, it's mental health. No. There's the same prevalence of mental health in the US as in everywhere. Schizophrenia is 1%. Whether you are in Ubonu Kamini Bise or you are in Uvalde, Texas, it's 1%. Why is it here? Why is it the same prevalence of mental health? And when we say mental health, the people that have mental health issues will not want to come out because they're seen as dangerous. So it's so counterintuitive. It's so but we are privileged that we're able. So getting back to what we are here about today, mental stress. What causes us? What will make us be in issues? There are things we want to achieve in our lives. Basically, there are several things we think we could achieve, or we ask that we can't because of something in our head. You know, if I split all the opinions people had here, some of them are putting the blame on the house. The other half are putting it outside of the house. But I want to tell you it's within. It's in the head of this house. So our early childhood experiences make us develop certain set of what we call core beliefs. Core beliefs that are at the center of who we are as persons. So these core beliefs are the mental processes that become a filter to how we make sense of ourselves, how we make sense of the world around us. And research has shown us that these core beliefs are baked by the age of 7. So by the time you're 7, the person you are mentally is developed. And what are core beliefs? Like you're in grade school, you come out to speak and somebody laughs at you because it was maybe or people bully you or say things or experiences from. Just imagine a baby who's born. A baby comes out of the womb, right? It's been inside the womb in water, feeding through the mom, and comes out and dry air and everything. Can't even open his eyes, and he's wondering, where am I? And then he cries. One woman comes, picks him up, feeds him. Okay, I don't know where I am, but somebody cares. He cries again. Somebody, the same person, comes up, picks up that baby. Okay, wow, okay, seems okay. Then he pees, somebody saying the same person. Within hours, there's already an attachment. There's already an attachment that is forming. Now contrast this to another baby who's born, cries, nobody comes. Oh my God, what's going on there? Cries, somebody comes, picks him up, cries, somebody comes, another person, cries. So inconsistency, what's going on? So within hours, these two babies are experiencing the world very differently. Very differently. So the attachment starts even from the womb. Because especially the Caucasian moms, they speak to their babies. Speak. And we know that while the black kids are weaker physically, they start walking or crawling at an earlier age. Caucasian kids start talking faster because they're already hearing their moms talking to them. And you see a Caucasian mom, not saying the black moms don't do that, but typically changing a one-day-old baby. Okay, I'm going to change you now. Okay, maybe it's not hearing what she's saying, but what she's saying. Right? So that attachment is forming. So the baby's already making experiences. Do you know that by the age of 2, you've reached half of your adult age? Height. By the age of 2, you've attained half of your adult height. So that's sometimes when we say by the age of 7 you're baked, people don't think it's a joke. It is true. So all those little things you're experiencing from the world of birth make you develop what we call core beliefs. And these core beliefs now make up what are your mental models truly. So what are mental models? That's the filter through which you see. So if these glasses were deep red in color, and I'm looking at this paper will look reddish or pinkish. But if you asked me what color is this paper, I'll tell you white. Why? I'm able to auto-correct. I'm able to tell myself, okay, it's looking red, pink, because I'm wearing red, so you make that adjustment, right? So our mental models are pretty much like the color of the lens through which we look at everything happening around us. So when you understand your own, because you are 7 when your core beliefs were already established. They were totally out of your control. Or you're 50 now. Why should your mental model at 7 be governing your life now? That is what is happening to this house. question for us is, how is that happening to us in our various lives today? What are those things that you want to accomplish? Fear holds you back. You default. For us from Africa who believe in remote control, somebody is here, he's not doing well, he has prostate cancer or something, he believes his brother's uncle's wife in Nigeria is doing something. That's your mental model. That's what we've been trained. That's what's been ingrained in us. And I'm not saying voodoo doesn't happen, but for the most part, we hold ourselves back through all these things. So most of us are not aware of how these things actually are automatically involved in our day-to-day decision making. And some of the fears, our intrinsic attributes, and all those things come from our mental models. And when we learn to be aware and get some control of these subconscious processes, then how does that relate to even our business? Be still, Psalm 46, be still and know that I'm God. Just take a breather when things are not going well, and ground yourself and get that anchor. Right? Just imagine a boat that is on the water on the seashore, just going like that. That boat doesn't stray too far because anchored. So you must have that anchor. You must have that stable mindset that you're consciously, you bring to conscious awareness these things that happen at a very subconscious level. And then when you add everything we've learned from Goodman Bukasho, we now take Christ as the anchor. And then we have that peace of God that passes all human understanding. So we can master our mental models by developing the skills of self-awareness, self-reflection, self-regulation. And when we can do this, we inspire ourselves from within. We can achieve emotional wellness, and we can up-level our performance at work. And in our various leadership positions, most of us here, clergy, and even the laity, we hold leadership positions. You find that you are going to be better able to inspire your teams, you're going to be better able to relate with people. So the way we live our lives today is mostly as a result of how our thoughts have been programmed for many years. And the more we empower these thoughts that are negative, especially, the more they can impede us. And our whole life events stem from the thoughts that we have built over time. So we need to check the things that we've allowed to seep through our hearts, the things that have told us and that we believe to be true. How are these helping us to improve our lives, and so on and so forth. So we know that you can decide to resist an experience within you, but you can also observe your mindset with more intention and with some curiosity. What is going on when you find yourself being held back? Bishop talked about autopilot today. Most of the times we live our lives on autopilot. Most times you're driving a car, you don't even know when you've got from point A to point B, because your mind is just going to many, many places. If we want to tell ourselves the truth, even when we're in prayers, you're trying to pray, how many times do you find yourself being distracted with thoughts from work, from family, from the weather, from the economy, from whatever else? You find those distractions. How are you able to pull your mind, have that control of your mindset, so you can be mindful and be present, be in the present moment to be able to achieve your goal? So it's being able to tell ourselves this will pass when we are in a moment of stress. And then we realize that we're empowered when we sit on the driving seats of our mind with guidance from our heart. So somebody said that sometimes all you need is to close your eyes and open your mind. Just think about it. Sometimes what you need is just close your eyes and open your mind. Become more aware of what is happening at a very subconscious level. What are the core beliefs that you've built up over time, and how are those impeding your life today? So, how can we when we know that we have these core beliefs, we know that there are these practice chairs in our life, how can we change that? Can identify what those thoughts are that are holding us back, and begin to find stories that run counter to that. Identify a new belief that you want to have, and create a visual feeling. Create something, an alternative story to it that you can, that is more pragmatic, more empirical. What you're telling yourself is a truth, and is it moving you forward. And when you do that, you find that you're able to be better control yourself and your future. So, I want to close by saying anxiety, stress, depression is real. Some of us, like I said, we make light of it sometimes, especially those of us from Nigeria. I don't know the name for depression in Igbo language. If anybody knows, if we can reach a consensus here, that would be great. Yeah. Ida Manobi, okay. So you can, I can bet you that we will not have one single word that we will agree here. So these things are real. We need to be mindful. For the clergy, look out for your parishioners who are struggling. Look out for parishioners who may be struggling, who may not be performing their best. And for ourselves, watch out. Talk to your doctor. Depression happens. People tend to come to us, they somatize, they tell us body pain, they complain about something in the throat that they can't swallow, and all sorts of physical things. And if it's back home in Nigeria, they treat malaria, they treat typhoid, and all those things, they keep treating and treating. And otherwise, then they say, oh, it's something somebody did to them. And sadly, the people that are most religious are the people that are most afraid at the same time. So I wonder where the faith has gone. So we need to really look out for ourselves, support each other, talk to your clergy, some prayers and counseling, talk to your family doctor, get referrals to get psychological treatment, counseling, medications. All those things do work. I am standing here today as a professor of psychiatry. I use these treatments and they work. Our people can be a little bit less accepting of them. We need to begin to change that paradigm. Dr. Watkins, I'll invite you to say something on this subject.
I want to revisit the horse for just a moment. Simply just because I feel compelled to say that what's going on with the horse is the horse has been conditioned over a period of time. It feeds directly into what Dr. Izu is talking about. Our mindset, that determines what we do, how we behave. I've been in forensic psychology for the last 30 years. And one of the things that I see as critical to understanding is that our core beliefs, what we think, determines how we behave in any situation. And it doesn't matter what that situation is. That determines who we are, what we become over the course of our entire life. I'm sorry?
That's right.
Oh, okay. All right. One of the things that I would like to add to what Dr. Izu is talking about, he's talking about seeking counseling. I've been doing that for a very, very long time. We teach cognitive techniques to control things like anxiety, to overcome depression periodically as a temporary fix. The medications, looking into psychotropic medication if you feel it's necessary, talk to your doctor. Those are important interventions. They're critical interventions. One of the preacher that was up here teaching the class earlier, he said, never give up. And that's another thing. You have to train yourself. Never give up. It's not the end of the world. Okay? You can feel down, you can feel blue. It's okay. It's normal. We all feel that way from time to time. When it becomes something of clinical significance, seek help. Don't try to do that on your own. That's dangerous. Thank you, Dr. Izu.
Thank you. So it's basically learning to say, this too shall pass. The average lifespan of an emotion is 90 seconds. And if you want to try that, look at little kids. So Johnny comes to you, daddy, and cries, oh, Sammy has taken my toy, and cries. And if you just console Johnny, he goes back and plays with Sammy, right? But as Johnny gets older, so Johnny starts saying, oh, that was how yesterday Sammy took my toy, and that was how mommy the other time. So we start, so as adults, what we do is we're upset, then we become upset that we're upset. Then what happens, you become upset that you're upset, and it just keeps rolling on. So just being aware of what is going on in your mind, giving it a name, understanding, building your emotional vocabulary, understanding what is going on, and accepting it. One of the hardest things I find to teach in psychology is radical acceptance. Suppose how can I accept that my husband is beating me up, or is cheating on me, or that something, how can I accept it? But if you don't accept it, you can't change. So the first thing is that acceptance. Usually, like we're here today because we want to be here. You're wearing something that you wanted to wear, that you bought the person. So most times, where we are at any present moment is not our problem. If you really think about it, where you are, it's usually ruminating about the past or worrying about the future. That's what gets us. So understanding what is going on, understanding the context, and accepting what you have to accept, and you'll be at peace, and you move on. And there'll be times when it will be a bit more difficult, but you will be able to move on in the end. But if you don't, if you're not that mindful, that centered, anchored, being in the present moment, is difficult. And being in the present moment itself is a challenging thing because the brain keeps going, right? If you understand, are we doing with time, sir? Getting close, okay. So I just want to explain to you a little bit how this happens. So when you eat a heavy meal, very heavy meal, you feel woozy. Like if you go ahead and have a heavy lunch now, half of us will just sleep. Why? It's a physiological shot. Because much of the brain you pump from your heart goes to your brain, right? When you eat, there's no engine grinding food, so it's a blood supply. So there's a shot. Much of the blood comes to your stomach to digest that food and take it away, and then it goes, you become normal again. So that I'm using that as something we cannot relate to. So that thing happens also when we are in our brain. So much of the brain, blood pump to the brain, goes to the front part of the brain. That is the part, the frontal lobe, prefrontal cortex. That's what you're using to engage with me now, to connect. You have to be here to dress up nicely and all that. Right? Executive function and cognitive function. Now, sorry, my phone keeps going off because it's my birthday and everybody's remembering me today. So when you're anxious, right? Imagine in prehistoric times, you see a lion, you run. You don't need to think. Nobody needs to think. If you saw a bear or a lion, you just run away. So that's how we're programmed. The back part of the brain is, that's what allows us to, make sure blood is pumped to your muscles, your eyes dilate, your pupils and everything, so you can run the fastest you'll ever run. So, but whether it's a lion we've seen, or we're just anxious about standing up here to speak, the brain cannot distinguish between the threat of a lion and the threat of public speaking. Its threat is threat. So once you feel anxious, typically blood gets shunted from that front part of your brain that you used to think to the back so you can escape. But escape to where? You're sitting on your desk, right? So what happens? Your heart is pumping, boom, 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 boom. Your muscles are clenching, your pupils dilate, you're breathless. So all those things that that's supposed to help you run away from the lion, except this is no lion, it's in your head. Right? So you're sitting there, your cortisol level goes up, your adrenaline goes up. So that is acute stress. But when this happens chronically, when you're in that stressful position for a long time, high cortisol, high adrenaline, these things now begin to affect your inflammation and all those things. I don't want to go too technical on that, but sustained stress levels have very damaging effect on our physical well-being. So managing that stress and containing it at that initial time is what will restore that peace of God that passes all human understanding and keep you well. So it's important to learn, understand these things. Everything we're talking about here is a subconscious level. We have to consciously be aware and control better those inner impulses. And God will help us all. Thank you very much.